My shoes are soaking wet, getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and having an absolutely amazing time today. I'm out in this gorgeous little valley that I stumbled across on today's hike, and just beautiful. I've got a little creek that's flowing through the valley. Everything's flooded out. You've got old growth trees, and you've got a lot of downfall that's starting to decay and enter back into nature. Just beautiful, beautiful place. And had no idea what I was going to find today, and I'm absolutely thrilled that I came out here. But I thought this would be a neat opportunity to talk a little bit about solo hiking and some of the risks associated with it, and maybe put to bed some of the fears that folks have about being out on the trail on their own. So, I mean, it can certainly be scary out here. There's things that you have no idea what to expect. If you're uncomfortable with hiking and you're rather new to it, it could be a little daunting to be out on your own. But I hope everybody takes the opportunity to learn a little bit more about hiking and just understand that it's okay to be out here, and it's okay to be a little afraid. Just don't be so afraid that you're having a terrible time, and certainly don't let it keep you from getting out on the trail. I think first and foremost, it's important that we acknowledge that when we're out on our hikes and our adventures, we're actually the guests in the animal's backyard. And being guests, we need to be respectful of the land that we're walking across. That's part of the principles and practices of leave no trace, right? It's you want to make sure whatever you bring in, you bring out with you. Try and disturb the ground cover as little as possible. And by all means, do everything in your power to make it a little bit better than you found it. When you're bushwhacking, every day is leg day. We're gonna make it. So one thing I hear a lot from friends when they're curious about the hiking adventures and trying to answer some questions about their fears on the trail is, what do you do if you run into a wild animal? Well, the answer is simple. You respect their distance, you slowly back away, and when in doubt, you pull out your bear spray. If you want a little bit more information about that, I'll leave a link for a video that I put out recently about just that, about bears. And I think I'll probably put it right about there. Maybe over there. I'm not sure, but it'll be either there or there. So yes, it's true. You're gonna run into animals on the trail. And heck, again, you're in their backyard, right? Respect their backyard, respect them, and they'll show you the same respect. I'm not saying don't be unprepared. I'm a firm believer in carrying bear spray, making noise, and doing a few other things just to make sure you're safe on the trail. But don't let that dissuade you from getting out there and exploring. Another question I hear a lot is, what are you supposed to do if you get lost? Right, that's a valid question, and it's pretty simple actually. You stop, you take a break, look around a little bit, catch your bearing, and 9 times out of 10 you'll realize that you're right by the trail, or you're just headed the wrong direction, and it's not that big of a deal. You just take your bearing and turn around. I also put out a video recently about that, and I'll leave the link to that one right about there. Don't worry about getting lost. It's actually a lot easier than you realize to get your bearing and get back on track. One rule that I try and follow anytime I go out on a hike, even if I'm with other folks, I always pull up a screenshot on the GPS of the location I'm going to be hiking at that day, and I send it to my wife. Typically with a message of, I'm starting my hike and I should be done by whatever time. It's always important that people know where you're at and what your agenda is. You don't want to be out there on a trail and have something happen and nobody's looking for you for a couple of days. So it's really easy. Use your cell phone, pull it up on maps, snap a screenshot or share the location with a friend, and give them your timeline. I think probably the most common question I'm asked and concerns that people bring up is what happens if you get hurt? You know, would it slip and fall? You break a leg, twist an ankle? What are you supposed to do? How do you get help when you're out in the middle of the woods all by yourself? Well, it's critically important to always have a first aid kit with you. I know some folks will tell you they only carry a Band-Aid and a pair of scissors or whatever it is. And I tend to overpack, as you can tell by my backpack. I'm a firm believer in always having a first aid kit with me that has your basic essentials. Got some Band-Aids, and I've got gauze, and I've actually got some sutures and stitching material. I even have a tourniquet with me. Hopefully I never have to use that one. But more importantly, it's your communication device, right? To ask for help. So it goes right back down to sharing your location with a friend. Some folks like to carry a GPS. Others carry the emergency beacon with them. There's some really expensive versions, and then there's some inexpensive low-tech versions. Highly recommend you do your research and figure out what's best for you and best for the area you're hiking in. For me, here in Washington, we tend to have pretty good cell coverage in almost every area. So even though the phone doesn't always work, there's enough of a signal to send out an emergency text message. So in combination to sharing my location, I've also got the ability to send a help message. Don't be shy about reaching out and asking for help if you need it. You know, the world really is an amazing place. Nature's got some phenomenal gifts to share with us. All we have to do is take the time and take the courage to get out there and explore. I'm not suggesting that everybody run out to REI, grab a backpack and a kit, and hit the open trail for a through hike across the country. But what I am suggesting is you take an afternoon and go for a walk. Start small, find some local trails in your neighborhood, go to the park, explore a new city. You'll find after a few short little afternoon hikes, you're feeling a little bit more comfortable, a little more confident out there on the trail, and you're ready to take on a little bit bigger challenge. So regardless of your skill level, the length of your hike, as long as you're out there, you're exploring, you're having an amazing time, it doesn't get any better than that. So until next time, folks, get out on the trail and go for a walk.